Hello, my dear students. Welcome to Teacher at Home. Today, class, we are going to learn the chapter 5th, Challenges to and Restoration of the Congress System. Challenge of Political Succession. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru passed away in May 1964. He had been unwell for more than a year. This had generated a lot of speculation about the usual question of succession. After Nehru, who? But in a newly independent country like India, the situation gave rise to more serious question. After Nehru, what? The second question arose from the serious doubt that many outsiders had about whether India's democratic experiment will survive after Nehru. It was feared that, like so many other newly independent countries, India too would not be able to manage a democratic succession. A failure to do so, it was feared, could lead to a political role for the army. Besides, there were doubts if the new leadership would be able to handle the multiple crises that awaited a solution. The 1960s were labeled as a dangerous decade when unresolved problems like poverty, inequality, communal and regional divisions, etc., could lead to a failure of the democratic project or even the disintegration of the country. From Nehru to Shastri. The ease with which the secession after Nehru took place proved all the critics wrong. When Nehru passed away, K. Kamraj, the president of the Congress party, consulted party leaders and Congress members of parliament and found that there was a consensus in favor of Lal Bahadur Shastri. He was unanimously chosen as the leader of the Congress parliamentary party and thus began the country's next prime minister. Shastri was a non controversial leader from Uttar Pradesh who had been a prime minister, who had been a minister in Nehru's cabinet for many years. Nehru had come to depend a lot on him in this last year. He was known for the simplicity and his commitment to principles. Earlier, he had resigned from the position of railway minister, accepting moral responsibility for a major railway accident. Shastri was the country's prime minister from 1964 to 66. During Shastri's brief prime ministership, the country faced two major challenges. While India was still recovering from the economic implications of the war with China, failed monsoons, drought, and serious food crisis presented a grave challenge. As discussed in the previous chapter, the country also faced a war with Pakistan in 1965. Shastri's famous slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, symbolized a country's resolve to face both these challenges. Shastri's prime ministership came to an abrupt end on 10th January 1966 when he suddenly expired in Tashkent, then in USSR, currently the capital of Uzbekistan. He was there to discuss and sign an agreement with Muhammad Ayub Khan, the then president of Pakistan, to end the war. From Shastri to Indira Gandhi. Thus, the Congress faced the challenge of political succession for the second time in 2 years. This time, there was an intense competition between Morarji Desai and Indira Gandhi. Morarji Desai had earlier served as Chief Minister of Bombay State, today's Maharashtra and Gujarat, also the minister at the center. Indira Gandhi, the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, had been Congress president in the past and had also been Union Minister for Information in the Shastri cabinet. This time, the senior leaders in the party decided to back Indira Gandhi, but the decision was not unanimous. The contest was resolved through a secret ballot among Congress MPs. Indira Gandhi defeated Morarji Desai by securing the support of more than two-thirds of the party's MPs. A peaceful transition of power, despite intense competition of leadership, was seen as a sign of maturity of India's democracy. Challenges to restoration of the Congress system. It took some time before the Prime Minister could settle down. While Indira Gandhi had been politically active for very long, she had served as minister under Lal Bahadur Shastri only for a short period. The senior Congress leaders may have supported Indira Gandhi in the belief that her administrative and political inexperience would compel her to depend on them for support and guidance. Within a year of becoming Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi had to lead the party in the Lok Sabha election. Around this time, the economic situation in the country had further deteriorated, adding to the problems faced with the difficulties. She set out again to control over the party and to demonstrate her leadership skills. Fourth general elections 1967. The year 1967 is considered as a landmark year in India's political and electoral history. In Chapter 2, you read about how the Congress Party was the dominant political force throughout the country from 1952 onwards. This trend was to undergo significant changes with the 1967 elections. Contest of the elections. In the years leading up to the fourth general election, the country witnessed major changes. Two prime ministers have died in quick succession, and the new prime minister, who has been seen as a political novice, had been in office for less than a year. You will recall from the discussion in chapter 3 and the previous sessions of this chapter had the people was fraught with grave economic crisis resulting from successive failure of monsoons, widespread drought. Decline in agriculture production, serious food shortage, depletion of foreign exchange reserves, drop in industrial production and exports, combined with a sharp rise in military expenditure, diversion of resources from planning and economic development. One of the first decisions of the Indira Gandhi government was to devaluate the Indian rupee under what was seen to be pressure from the US. Earlier, one US dollar could be purchased for less than rupees 5. After devaluation, it cost more than rupees 7. Economic situation triggered of price rise. People started protesting against the increase in prices of essential commodities, food scarcities, growing unemployment, and the overall economic condition in the country. Burns and hussars were called frequently across the country. The government saw the protest as a law and order problem and not as expressions of people's problems. This further increased public bitterness and reinforced popular unrest. Communist and socialist parties launched struggles for the greater equality. You will read in the next chapter about how a group of communists was separated from the Communist Party of India, Marxist, to form the Communist Party of India, Marxist-Leninist, led armed agrarian struggles and organized peasant agitations. This period also witnessed some of the worst Hindu-Muslim riots since independence. Non-congressions. Congressism. The situation could not have remained isolated from party politics in the country. Opposition parties were in the forefront of organizing public protest and pressurizing the government. Parties opposed the Congress realized that the division of the votes kept the Congress in power. Thus, parties that were entirely different and disparate in their programs and ideology got together to form anti Congress friends in some states and entered into electoral adjustments of sharing seats in others. They felt that the inexperience of Indira Gandhi and the internal factionalization within the Congress provided them an opportunity to topple the Congress. Socialist leader Ram Manohar Lohia gave the strategy the name of non-Congressism. He also produced a theoretical argument in its defense. Congress rule was undemocratic and opposed to the interests of ordinary poor people. Therefore, the coming together of the non-Congress parties was necessary for reclaiming democracy for the people. Electoral verdict. It was in this context of heightened popular discontent and the polarization of political forces that the fourth general elections to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies were held in February 1967. The Congress was facing the electorate for the first time without Nehru. The results jolted the Congress at both the national and state levels. Many contemporary political observers describe the election results as a political earthquake. The Congress did manage to get a majority in the Lok Sabha, but with its lowest tally of seats and share of votes since 1952. Half the ministers in Indira Gandhi's cabinet were defeated. The political stalwarts who lost in their constituency included Kamaraj in Tamil Nadu, S.K. Patel in Maharashtra, Adulya Ghosh in West Bengal, and S.B. Sahai in Bihar. The dramatic nature of the political change would be more apparent to you at the state level. The Congress lost majority in as many as 7 states. In two other states, defections prevented it from forming a government. These 9 states where the Congress lost power were spread across the country: Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa, Madras, and Kerala. In Madras state, now called Tamil Nadu, a regional party, the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, came to power by securing a clear majority. The DMK won power after having led a massive anti Hindi agitation by students against the center on the issue of the imposition of Hindi as the official language. This was the first time any non Congress party had secured a majority of its own in any state. In the other 8 states, coalition governments consisting of different non Congress parties were formed. A popular saying was that one could take a train from Delhi to Howrah and not pass through a single Congress ruled state. It was a strange feeling for those who were used to seeing the Congress in power, so was the domination of the Congress over. Coalitions. The elections of 1967 brought into picture the phenomena of coalitions. Since no single party had got majority, various non-Congress parties came together to form joint legislative parties called Samyukta Vidyayak Dal in Hindi that supported non-Congress governments. That is why the governments came to be described as SVD governments. In most of these cases, coalition partners were ideologically incongruent. The SVD government in Bihar, for instance, included the two socialist parties, SSP and PSP, along with the CPI on the left and Jana Sangh on the right. The Punjab, it was called the Popular United Front, comprised the two rival Akali parties at that time, Sun Group and the Master Group, with both the Communist parties, the SCPI and CPIM, SSP were Republican Party and Bharatiya Janata Sangh. Defection. Another important feature of the politics after the 1967 elections was the role played by defections in the making and unmaking of governments in the states. Defection means an elected representative leave the party on whose symbol she was selected and joins another party. After the 1967, the general election, the breakaway Congress legislators played an important role in the installing non-Congress governments in 3 states, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. The constant realignments and shifting political loyalties in this period gave rise to the expression I Ram Jai Ram. The story of Ayaram Jairam, the expression of Ayaram Jairam, became popular in the political vocabulary in India to describe the practice of frequent floor crossing by legislators. Literally translated, the terms mean Ram came and Ram went. Expression originated in an amazing feat of floor crossing achievement by Jay Lal, an MLA in Haryana in 1967. He changed his party's rise in a fortnight from Congress to United Front, back to Congress, and then 9 hours to the United Front again. It is said that when Jayalal declared his intention to quit the United Front and join the Congress leader Rao Bidendra Singh brought him to the Chandigarh press and declared Jairam was now Ayaram. Jayalal's feat was immortalized in this phrase Ayaram Jairam, which became the subject of humorous jokes and cartoons. Later, the constitution was amended to prevent defections. Splitting the Congress. We saw that after 1967 elections, the Congress retained power at the center, but with a reduced majority and lost power in many states. More importantly, the results proved that the Congress could be defeated at the elections, but there was no substitute asset. Most non-Congress coalitions government in the states did not survive for long. They lost majority and either new combinations were formed or president's rule had to be imposed. Indira versus the syndicate. The real challenge to Indira Gandhi came not from the opposition but from within their own party. She had to deal with the syndicate, a group of powerful and influential leaders from within the Congress. The syndicate had played a role in the installation of Indira Gandhi as the Prime Minister by ensuring her election as the leader of the parliamentary party. These leaders expected Indira Gandhi to follow their advice. Gradually, however, Indira Gandhi attempted to assert her position within the government and the party. She chose a trusted group of advisors from outside the party. Slowly and carefully, she sidelined the syndicate. Indira Gandhi thus faced two challenges. She needed to build her independence from the syndicate. She also needed to work towards regaining the ground from the Congress and lost in the 1967 elections. Indira Gandhi adopted a very bold strategy. She converted a simple power struggle into an ideological struggle. She launched a series of initiatives to give the government policy a left orientation. She got the Congress Working Committee to adopt a 10-point program in May 1967. This program included a social control of banks, nationalizations of general insurance, selling on urban property and income, public distribution of food grains, land reforms and provisions of house sites to the rural poor. While the syndicate leaders formally approved this left wing program, they had serious reservations about the same. Presidential election 1969. The factional rivalry between the syndicate and Indira Gandhi came into open in 1969. Following the President Zakir Hussein's death, the post of President of India fell vacant that year. Despite Mrs. Gandhi's reservation, the syndicate managed to nominate her long-time opponent and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha N. Sanjeev Reddy as the official Congress syndicate candidate for the ensuing presidential elections. Indira Gandhi retaliated by encouraging the Vice President Vivek Giri to file his nomination as an independent candidate. She also announced several big and popular policy measures like the nationalizations of 14 leading private banks and abolition of the privy purse or the special privileges given to the former princes. Morarji Desai was the deputy prime minister and finance minister. On both the above issues, serious differences emerged between him and Prime Minister, resulting in Desai leaving the government. Congress had seen differences of this kind in the past, but this time both the parties wanted a showdown which took place during the presidential elections. Then, the then Congress President S. Jalingapal issued a wing asking all the Congress MPs and MLAs to vote in favor of Sanjeev Reddy, official candidate of the party. Supporters of Indira Gandhi requested a special meeting of the AICC. That is why this faction came to be known as requested, but this was refused. After silently supporting Vivek Giri, the Prime Minister openly called for a conscience vote, which means that the MPs and MLAs from the Congress should be free to vote the way they want. The election ultimately resulted in the victory of Vivek Giri, the independent candidate, and the defeat of Sanjeev Reddy, official Congress candidate. The defeat of the official Congress candidate formalized the split in the party. Congress President expelled the Indira Prime Minister from the party. She claimed that in the group was the real Congress. By November 1969, the Congress group led by the syndicate came to be referred to as the Congress organization, and the group led by Indira Gandhi came to be called the Congress Requestanist. These two parties were also described as Old Congress and New Congress. Indira Gandhi projected the split as an ideological divide between socialists and conservatives, between the pro poor and the pro rich. The 1971 election and restoration of Congress. The split in the Congress reduced Indira Gandhi government to a minority. Yet her government continued in office with the issue-based support. A few other parties included the Communist Party of India and the DMK. During this period, the government made conscious attempts to project its socialist credentials. This was also a phase when Indira Gandhi vigorously campaigned for implementing existing land reform laws and undertook further land ceiling legislation. In order to end her dependence on other political parties, strengthen her party's position in the parliament, and seek a popular mandate for her programs, Indira Gandhi's government recommended her dissolution of the Lok Sabha in December 1970. This was another surprising and bold move. The fifth general election to Lok Sabha were held in February 1971. The contest. The electoral contest appeared to be lauded against Congress. After all, the new Congress was just one faction of an already weak party. Everyone believed that the real organizational strength of the Congress party was under the command of Congress. To make matters worse for Indira Gandhi, all the major non-communist, non-Congress opposition parties formed an electoral alliance known as the Grand Alliance. SSP, PSP, Bharatiya Janata Sangh, Swadhantra Party and the Bharatiya Kranti Dal came together under this umbrella. Ruling party had an alliance with the CPI. And the non-Congress had something that is, big opponents lacked. It had an issue, an agenda, and a positive slogan. The Grand Alliance did not have a coherent political program. Indira Gandhi said that the opposition alliance had only one common program: Indira Hatao, remove Indira. In contrast to this, she put forward a positive program captured in the famous slogan Garibi Hatao, remove poverty. She focused on the growth of the public sector, imposing on ceiling on rural land holdings and urban property, removing of disparities in income and opportunity, and abolition of princely privileges. Though Haribi Ghatavo Indira Gandhi tried to generate a support base among the disadvantaged, especially among the landless laborers, Dalits and Adivasis, minorities, women, and unemployed youth. The slogan Garibi Hatavo and the programs that followed it were part of Indira Gandhi's political strategy of building an independent nationwide political support base. The outcome and after. The results of the Lok Sabha elections of 1971 were dramatic, as was the decision to hold these elections. The Congress RCPI alliance won more seats and votes than the Congress had ever won in the first four general elections. The combined won 375 seats in Lok Sabha and secured 48.4% votes. Indira Gandhi's Congress won 352 seats with about 44% of the popular votes of its own. Contrast this with the performance of the Congress. The party with so many stalwarts could get less than one-fourth of the votes secured by Indira Gandhi party and win merely 16 seats. With this, the Congress party, led by Indira Gandhi, established its claim to being the real Congress and restored it the dominant positions of Indian politics. The grand alliance of the opposition proved a grand failure. Combined tally of seats was less than 40. Soon after 1971 Lok Sabha elections, a major political and military crisis broke out in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. As you have read in Chapter 4, the 1971 elections were followed by the crisis in East Pakistan and the Indo-Pak War, leading to the establishment of Bangladesh. These events added to the popularity of Indira Gandhi. Even the opposition leaders admired her statesmanship. Her party swept through all the state assembly elections held in 1972. She was seen not only as the protector of the poor and the underprivileged, but also a strong nationalist leader. The opposition to her, either within the party or outside of it, simply did not matter. With two successive election victories, one at the center and at the state level, the dominance of the Congress was restored. The Congress was now in power in almost all the states. It was also popular across different social sections within a span of 4 years. Indira Gandhi had warded of the challenge of the leadership and the dominant position of the Congress party. Restoration. But does it mean the Congress system was restored? What Indira Gandhi had done was not a revival of the old Congress party. In many ways, she had reinvented the party. The party occupied a similar position in terms of its popularity as in the past, but it was a different kind of a party. It relied entirely on the popularity of the supreme leader. It had somewhat weak organizational structure. This Congress party now did not have many factions, thus, it could not accommodate all kinds of opinions and interests. While it won elections, it depended more than social groups, some social group, the poor, the women, Dalit, the Adivasis, and the minorities. This was a new Congress that had emerged. As Indira Gandhi restored the Congress system by changing the nature of the Congress system itself. Despite being more popular, the new Congress did not have the kind of capacity to absorb all tensions and conflicts that the Congress system was known for. While the Congress consolidated its position and Indira Gandhi assumed a position of unprecedented political authority, the space for democratic expressions of the people's aspirations actually shrank. The popular unrest and mobilization across the around issues of development and economic deprivation continue to grow. In the next chapter, you will read how the lead to political crisis that threatened the very existence of constitutional democracy in the country. So that's all about this chapter. If you are interested, please do like, share, and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.